Well, I did it. We did it. My wife and I did it. We watched Black Widow, finally, now streaming free on Disney Plus. And this is the end of the phase one. I mean, who's left? There's Thor, there's Hulk, there's Hawkeye. This is like the closing for the phase one crew. I have notes. I have watched it. Wasn't a huge fan, which is pretty disappointing. But let's explain. So the beginning, it started off well, and it was, we've heard of Natasha going through the Red Room and what she had to deal with as a young girl. We got glimpses of that, actually glimpses of her fake beginnings, where she has this family, and things seem fine. Then the father and the mother, how many air quotes can I get? The father and the mother realize the jig is up, and they have to leave. And I will say, in this situation, you see the strength of the father. And they know, unfortunately, they know their time was coming to an end and they have to leave. I guess coming to an end as far as living in Ohio. The father, they're getting away. He flips over this, it's Red Guardian, but he flips over this huge thing as they're about to escape on a plane. I'm like, okay, well, super strength right there. I'm not going to go over the plot too much, because if you're watching this, you've probably seen it, if not spoilers. We fast forward to present day. Her sister now is a Black Widow. She's taken out of her spell as she's trying to hunt someone down. Natasha is hiding out, and she, however, is led back to her sister. Now, the meeting of the sisters is good. It's tense. There's a fight. Very like gritty and aggressive. It's pretty well done, I would say. However, when they save their father, who's the Red Guardian, and their mother, it starts to get goofy. So I'm gonna repeat this multiple times. I don't know why the Red Guardian is such a huge comic relief for someone that's supposed to be the equivalent of Captain America. And it's if it was more subtle, it'd be fine, but it's just really annoying. Especially because in the beginning you see him as a serious family leader, and now he has this Russian accent back, and it's just a goofball, like nonstop, regardless of the tone, over and over again. Anyway, I thought things would get better when they met the mother, but then they get into this family dinner, and the Red Guardian puts a suit on, and it's just like more of the same, like silly talking, and she's experimenting on pigs and makes the pig stop breathing. Again, I would expect this from other characters in the MCU, but the tone for Black Widow has been set up to have like a traumatic background experience. Also, the Red Guardian is trying to, I guess, have a heart-to-heart with the sister, but he goes into the story about when his father peed on his hands. I kid thee not. And it's just like, it's not even funny at that point. It's just like trying too hard to be funny, like 6th grade boy toilet humor, literal toilet humor. Anyway, there's an interesting switcheroo with the mother and Natasha. We think at this point that the mother has betrayed them. They're taking them to the Flying Fortress, which is the Red Room. So the Black Widows steal them. They meet the bad guy, and I will say he's pretty menacing, and I don't mind the whole like smell protection, but he's pretty menacing despite not being in this movie that much. Like, there's more Taskmaster than than the actual villain. Like the only villain, like Taskmaster is not actually the bad guy. It's just being controlled. Like I said, I wish there was more of them. Well, here we go. I have my notes here, but then we come to Taskmaster. So I don't read comics. If I didn't know the character, which I did not, and I'm sure most people are not. Most people watching are not super familiar with him in the comics, but I wouldn't care about the gender swap. It's the bad guy's daughter. We think she's dead, but she's not. And unless the girl was on steroids, it's pretty obvious that the way the person carries themselves, it's a guy. Like, I don't care, but it's just, they take the helmet off, and I'm just like, okay, so that's a very tall woman that walks very masculinely. That's just the way it is. The skeletal structure is different. That's biology. I don't know what to tell you. But now the people that do enjoy Taskmaster from the comics, it has to be an annoying, like, gender swap, and it's not an actual villain. Like in the comics, it's an actual villain, but here we have a remote controlled zombie, basically. Again, I thought the bad guy being protected with smell was fine, but I thought it was silly that Natasha had to break her nose, and she knew, but she had to break her nose in order to beat the tar out of him. Then we get to the finale, which is like a huge, basic end of Marvel CGI fest. The action was starting to get a little bit crazy. You could tell there's some green screen happening. The villain dies to the sister, just kind of blows up and he's gone. So he maybe had like 20 minutes of screen time. There are flashbacks of him. And then we see him for like a 10-minute talk, and then he blows up, and that's it. That's the main villain. I thought there'd be more emotion behind it, but it wasn't the main character killing the villain. And it was her sister, and it was like a poof, he like blew up in a helicopter with a bunch of other dudes, and that's it. So Nat uses and by the way, all the widows are controlled neurologically with some sort of goo, and Nat has the cure. So she uses it on the Taskmaster at the end. And I thought that technically the Taskmaster was a dead person walking around, but she uses it, and the Taskmaster wakes up and she's like, is he gone? Is my father gone? She's like, yes. And I'm just like, how conscious were you this entire time? So it's like she has full memory of her father, but she's not the villain. And then that's it. And that's the end. And the people come. We have more end credits because Natasha's dead from Endgame at this point. His sister takes over. They kind of tie into some Hawkeye hunt down with her sister and the lady from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And the ending was just meh. So, my final thoughts. It was pretty annoying that an ending to an original Avenger is this movie. I would rather it have been two things. One, I feel like this should have been in place of Captain Marvel before we see her die in Endgame. Did I say two things? One thing. It's kind of like a too little too late send off for a character we know is already gone. It would have been, had we seen this before Endgame, it would have been like, oh, that's pretty nice. And then after it's like, oh my goodness, she died. And then that'd be the end. But now it's like we have to go back. It's like making an Iron Man. He's kind of floating around in What If, but that's like if we made a new Iron Man show. Anyway, for the tone, I wanted something darker. It's like they kept adding in MCU level humor for a character which up until this point it has been hinted so many times how traumatic her background has been. You know, we kind of got hints of that when she was, I guess you can say, flirting with the Hulk, and that they threw that away. But it's like, and it just felt so unnatural. Like it kind of took a little bit for Black Widow to kind of, I mean, she had some quips here and there, but this is her original family and getting over her tragic backstory that we're dealing with. But it's just too much, and like the ending, it just turned into like this basic MCU like cookie cutter, you know, major ending with all the CGI and all the stuff and action and all over the place. Well, my dog's here. The sister's humor was fine. They do make fun of the superhero landing a lot. Shh. It's my assistant Lucy. But I mean, then just the overall like non-stop, just like not good humor over and over again. Like the Red Guardian. The Red Guardian, for someone that I thought was going to be a lot cooler, was just so annoying. Like, get out of there. Digging in the trash. Like for someone that's supposed to be, again, the equivalent to a Captain America, why? I mean, we're talking about Cold War era Russia. That's when he was kind of developed. But like, why are we making him this huge joke? And it would not stop. Like none of the elements that made him the kind of the stronger father figure, the person that was willing to like say, hey, here are my two non-daughters. And by the way, they're not a real family, but here are my two daughters. Go back or go to the Red Room. And I know you're going to be physically scarred, but in the long run, you'll be tougher for it. That's not the kind of person that I saw in this movie. I just saw a huge comic relief that would not stop. And it was just never lit up. Never lit up. So, all those reasons and more, and the fact that it was delayed, it hurt what this movie could have been. It's sad that this is the end of Black Widow. It's sad that, you know, watching What If, you can tell that's not Scarlett Johansson anymore. Whoever the voice actress is doing a good job, but it's like, you know, Chris Hemsworth is there, but Captain America and Iron Man are not. And Hawkeye and Chadwick Boseman is in there, but Black Widow's not. And what's his name? Bruce Banner. Mark Ruffalo's in there. But I don't know. This just feels like this is, you know, I heard Shang-Chi was good. I haven't seen that yet. We still have like more. We have Doctor Strange. We have Spider-Man. They're going to have to like wipe the Marvel slate clean of the characters and start over. Otherwise, we're going to just like trickle along with the original Avengers. Like Hawkeye, that TV show, man. I don't know about that. We still got the Hulk out there and we have Thor. So, my two main guys, Hulk and Thor, they're still, we'll have to wait and see how they handle them because it's looking rough, man. So, let me know what you guys think. It's been a long time coming, this review. This is a movie I was looking forward to that just, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I had to bite the bullet and watch it. So, Dork Dad Sam, you're welcome. Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, make your dog watch it. Make your dog watch this on a loop. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.